Welcome to the homestead. So, this is the weekly live stream for the Prepared to Prosper YouTube channel. Well, you know where you're at. You're on in the channel. But sorry I missed the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, I let my phone die. That's my fault. And last week, I was helping out at the Boy Scout camp. I was up there with the troop. And got busy, completely forgot it was Wednesday at 3 o'clock. So I rearranged the live stream and everything. And I put a link to all the upcoming live streams on my website. It's johnmagnus.com/live. I'll put a link in the description when this is over if I remember. I do plan on by the end of this month getting the website changed over to the new branding. Anyway, today we're talking about Moses. We talked about him last time. We're going to be talking about him for a little bit while here. But we're talking about Moses on our journey to get to David and his mighty men so we can understand that concept. But we're learning from all the people of the Bible. We'll do more live streams about people in the Bible. I hear voices. Either I'm crazy or there's somebody over there. Whatever. Anyway. Problem with it being on an urban homestead. But anyway, so Moses. Last time we talked about Moses being he murdered an Egyptian. He became part of Pharaoh's household, all that stuff. He murdered an Egyptian, ran out the media, something like that. Got married. Actually stepped up for the first time in his life, did the right thing, used his anger for something righteous, and protected a woman, and then ended up marrying her. And then he's out raising the sheep for his father-in-law. His wife was doing that earlier but when he met her, I don't know if she's still doing that, if she's with Moses raising sheep, or if she's staying home now that Moses can raise the sheep, or if she's raising a different group of sheep somewhere else. The Bible doesn't say, because I guess that's not an important detail for us to worry about. I just brought it up because I think it's interesting that Moses kind of like took over and did things for his wife so she didn't have to. That's what it appears to happen. Anyway, hold on a second. I gotta go investigate the noises. It's the neighbor outside doing some yard work. Anyway, so Moses, he's out doing his shepherding things for his father-in-law, right, taking care of the sheep. And he sees in the distance a bush that's burning, but it doesn't look like it's being consumed by fire. So he's like, oh, that's weird. I gotta go check this out. When he gets close, a voice comes from within the burning bush and tells Moses that he's standing on holy ground. He needs to take off his shoes. So Moses does take off his shoes. And that reminds me of something not related to this live stream, but I need to spend more time barefoot again. My feet felt a lot better. A lot less foot pain when I spent more time barefoot last year. Anyway, Moses listens to the command from this burning bush, and so Moses is not only is he doing the right thing by being curious and trying to learn more when he sees something, but Moses is being reverent here. He knows that bushes don't just burn, especially burn and not get consumed. And he's being told by God that he needs to show reverence, and he immediately starts showing reverence. And he asks God, hey, who are you? And, well, hold on a second. We'll get to that. So Moses is then told by the burning bush, hey, I've heard my people cry out for help in Israel, and I'm going to send you to go help them. And Moses is like, yeah, I hear you. I should do that. But Moses is reluctant. He's like, I should do that, God, but I got all these problems. I can't do it. I'm not a very good speaker, blah, 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 all these excuses. And we do the same thing. We make excuses not to do what we're told and not to do what God wants us to do. We should just get off our butt, get up, and actually go do what God wants. Eventually, I'm going to do a whole lesson on just the different prophets from the Bible, the ones that him and hauled around and didn't do what they were supposed to and argue with God about it. Some of them hid and ran away, and compare that to the ones that actually went out and did their mission and did what they were supposed to do. So Moses and is hemming and hauling around and not answering and not saying, yeah, I'll go do what you are commanding me to do. Moses says, well, if I go and tell them that God sent me, they're going to ask me what God, because they worship the Egyptian gods now and Canaanite gods. And who are you? And God says, I am who I am. What this means is God is who he is. God doesn't need a name or anything like that. You'll know who God is by looking and watching and seeing what God does and how God fulfills his promises. And also he says, I'm the God of your forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So he ties it back to there. But real quick before we move on from the burning bush saying that he is I am. Later we see them ask Jesus who he is, and he repeatedly says that I am when they ask that question. One example is he says, before Abraham was, I am. He's showing that he is the same God that's in the burning bush. That Jesus and the burning bush are the same, not just God, but Jesus and the burning bush are the same person of God. And sorry if you can hear the phone vibrating. I got a spam call. Wish I could turn that off. Anyway, let's try poking that, seeing if that goes away. Nope. Crap. I don't know if you. So Moses now knows who God is, and he's still like, I can't talk. I can't do this. So God's like, all right, I'll make you a deal. If you go do this, I'll send your brother Aaron to come help you. And he'll speak for you the way you're supposed to speak for me. So God's like, I'll tell you, Moses, what to do and how to talk. And Moses, you tell Aaron what to say. And that's how you guys will negotiate and how you'll prophesy and talk to Pharaoh for me. And God also gives Moses some signs, sticks his hand in his shirt, comes out white. Some translations say leprous, puts his shirt back in, his hand back in his shirt, comes out clean. This shows that God can control life and death. So Moses sticks his hand in and it's all white and necrotic and dying. And God can control life and death. And also says, throw down your snake, your staff, and it turns into a snake. We'll see later that is used by Moses to do a wizard duel to prove that God is more powerful than the false gods of Egypt. So Aaron's told Moses told Aaron's gonna help him. So Moses is like, oh, okay, I'll do this. But then instead of heading towards Aaron like God told him to, he heads back home. And on his way to head home, his wife Zephora has a dream that basically God tells her, hey, your husband's being disobedient. I'm going to kill your husband because he won't be disobedient. Well, then she's like, I don't want my husband to die, and I want to be obedient to God. And I want my husband to be a good, strong man and be obedient to God. So I'm going to go confront my husband and tell him he needs to be obedient. So if any women are watching this, yes, it's important to follow your husband's leadership, but when your husband is not leading you correctly and not following God correctly, it's perfectly acceptable and well within your rights and your job to point out, like, hey, dude, you got to fix this. You got to be a better husband, to be a better father. You got to follow God better. That's we'll see how she does it here in a second. And see, for men, Abraham's supposed to be like this great example, and we see he's done nothing but screw up so far in the story, and he screwed up everything. Even the one time he did stand up for this woman and then married her, now he's not being a good husband to her and a good father to her kids, their kids. So Zephora does what she needs to do to follow God's commandment. She goes and does what Moses was unwilling to do as a father, and she circumcises her son, which she shouldn't have had to do, and goes and confronts Moses about it and points out that Moses is being a coward and running away from God, and that she has to step up and do this job that he's supposed to be doing. And she's having to fill in the role of father in this way, and the role of the family priest, and making sure that the commandments with God's commandments within the family are being followed. And tell you the truth, I'm not the best at leading my family spiritually. I need to do a better job. I need to learn from Moses' mistake and do a better job at that. And that's one of the big problems we're having in this country right now, is that men aren't leading their family spiritually like they should be. If you want to make America great again, don't elect some politician. They don't care. Maybe they care a little bit at most. They really don't care about you. They might care about the country a little bit. They care about their reputation and how well people think they're doing. But that politician does not care about each individual person. They can't. They don't know us all. But if we want to make America great, instead of relying and waiting for some politicians to make America great again, we need to get off our butt and start leading our families, leaving a legacy of good, strong Christian men and women in the next generation. And we need to start doing what God says and loving our neighbor as ourselves. All right, that's enough of that rant. So after Moses' wife basically scolds him and humiliates him for not being a good father, Moses says, and not being a good disciple of Christ, Moses says, you're right, or disciple of God. Moses says, you're right, turns around, heads back towards Egypt. On his way there, he runs into Aaron. And they're brothers, they meet, they're happy to see each other. It's been years since they've seen each other. And God also says, hey, Moses, you're going to be my disciple, and or you're going to be my prophet, and Aaron, you're going to be like his second in command prophet. And God tells them that, hey, I got this. If you just follow me, everything will be okay. And so they decide that they actually start following God after that and doing the best they can. They both make some serious screw ups we're going to cover in later live streams. All right. So Moses and Aaron, they go back to Egypt, and they don't go talk to Pharaoh. First thing they do is go talk to the elders of Israel, the leaders of the 12 tribes, and they say, God hears you. God knows you're suffering. God's going to come rescue you and take care of you, and you're going to see great and mighty works as long as you believe and follow God. You're going to see all this stuff happen, and when you see you're going to see God working in the land to defeat Egypt, and so that the Israelites can be free. And he's actually, even though Moses is not one of the leaders of the 12 tribes, he's stepping up and being a leader. He's not a leader by appointment. He's not a leader by position. He's now becoming a leader by the fact that he's leading. And so in the next live stream, we're going to go, and it's going to be showdown between Moses and Pharaoh's servants, which is really a showdown between God and the demons that rule over the earth. And we're going to see how that goes down. We're probably not going to go to all 12 plagues in detail, but we are going to cover all the 12 plagues and then the start of the Exodus. So I hope you, if you got something out of this, I hope you turn on notifications and all that stuff so you get the next live stream so you can pick up on this. And if you want to join me in the discussion, anything to do with the Bible studies, homesteading, preparedness, or living out our mission in this broken world we live in, and living out the aspiring mighty man lifestyle, trying to be the kind of men we're called to be. Join me on Telegram and we can have the discussion. It's t.me/prepare to prosper. There's a link in the description. And that's all I have. Again, I hope you join me again for the next live stream next week. And remember, we prepare today so we can prosper tomorrow. Why isn't it ending? There it goes. Maybe.